Good evening, comic book fans. It's me, it's T Fuller. It's Comic Crack here with another video. Wanted to talk kind of what I've been reading this week, just do a little bit of a wrap up. We had our Sunday night or Sunday afternoon rather, get together on Rasa's channel this past Sunday. So Damian was with us again. He's going to be around for a few more, or however more he is. Obviously, he's welcome to stay as long as he likes. It's great having other people coming through. And I would say to anybody else watching, the 16 of you, give me a shout if you would like to be on and hang out with us. Just let me know. Just send us a message. Send Damian a message. Send Rasa a message. Send me a message. If you follow us on Twitter, give us a message there. We're always looking to have people on. If you want to talk books, it's really loose. We don't make a plan beforehand. We tried to make a plan with Velvet, and I can't speak for Rasa, but myself, I stepped away from reading that, even though I was really enjoying reading it again. And now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe I should get back to it a little more. But we don't make a plan as to what we're going to talk about. It's whatever we've been reading. It can be about whatever. We end up just chatting. There's no real agenda other than, trying to focus on stuff that we've enjoyed. Obviously, there's going to be things in there that aren't as exciting to us, but we try to really talk a lot about stuff we've enjoyed. If there's crossover with us, that's also great. If we can coordinate something beforehand, for sure we will. But yeah, enough blabbering. Give me a shout if you want to be on and we can set something up. Sundays. So this Sunday, we'll probably go back to Rasa's channel. So again, if you're not subscribed to Rasa, Rasa, please go and check her out and subscribe there so you can kind of tune in and hit the bell and all that kind of jazz, right? So, so during our show, because we end up talking so much, I like to do about so many things for like a couple hours. I like to do one of these just to wrap up, and I wanted to highlight some books that I've been reading because of this hashtag, this My 500 Comic Challenge. I've been reading an absolute boatload. It's just really accelerated my reading. I'm just really enjoying it. I'm really in the zone. So that said, even since Sunday, there's a couple of things that I've read that I wanted to talk about here, as well as probably go into them on Sunday in our hangout there. And I'll get to that. There's one specifically that it just blew my mind reading it yesterday. I just read it yesterday, and it's unbelievable. And I can't believe I waited so long to get it. But before that, there's been some people that, Twitter seems to be, for me anyway, I enjoy the comics chat on Twitter. I'm not much of an Instagrammer. Hello, Chaos and Comics. Yeah, the hashtag does put on the pressure. For sure it does. I know that there's a comic community on Instagram. I'm not really on Instagram that much these days. Twitter is the kind of the place that I like to spend time when I'm on social media. And there's a lot of comic people on there. So some of the people have, I've known for quite a few years doing this. One of them is Ryan C. He's been around for a long time. He used to be on Travis's Roundtable show for a little while there too. Always kind of chatted with him, especially in the comment section of those roundtables when he wasn't actually on the show. I'd love to go and hang out at Travis's show, that weekly show, and just chat with people there. It was so great. I know that Travis hasn't made a video in a long time. I'm hoping that, I'm not sure if he watches these videos. I'm hoping that at some point we do see him on camera again, because it was just such a fun discussion in that even when there was comics that I wasn't interested in at all, there was always such a nice group of people in the chat to kind of talk back and forth with. So I know Ryan from there, from those days, and he was talking about, I have this on one of the shows one week, he was asking if I read this, but is it comic art? And I have the first issue. So it got me looking at Domino again. Hello, Joe and Jello. Hello, Mind the Comics. How's it going? It got me looking at Domino comics, and I placed an order with them. Unfortunately, one of the books that I had ordered, he didn't have in stock. But I jumped on issue number 2 because Ryan actually has a piece in here that he's written. So another in kind of the, comic criticism, comic book writing. There's some comic strips in here as well too. Bald Eagles, my man Victor Cairo, that shirt back there. Oddfellow's Thoughts is his channel name. But I don't know I don't know if he has videos posted or not still. I'm assuming he hasn't deleted everything, but check him out. So this particular issue is like 60 pages, and it's got some comics, like I was saying. There's some Victor Cairo in there, but mostly it's got kind of journalism, criticism, reviews, interviews, etc. The first issue, I think I remember it being like half this size. It wasn't beefy whatsoever. And there's a third issue that's coming as well. I think it's just being printed. It's coming out right away anyway. And then in the back, you get some advertisements and things. So I started reading this afternoon, and it's pretty great. Oh, hey, look at this. John DaCosta. Yeah, he hasn't posted in 2 years. There seems to be a growing world of comic book zines out there again. So with this, with Bubbles, with the Strangers fanzine, there's a number of books out there that are kind of going back to this almost fanzine slash comics journal-ish type of format. So that one's really fun so far. And then a couple of books that I got from them that I ordered. This Reptile House, this mini anthology, issue 1. I think there's 3 or 4 issues of this from what I remember from the Domino site. This one was a lot of fun. This one really reminded me of the Underground Comics days. A little bit unhinged, a lot of really great styles, but kind of had that, he is active on Twitter. Yes, he absolutely is. It had that kind of energy, the art, back to those Underground days. You know what I mean? There really seems... Oh, you have all of these, Chris. That's amazing. How are the other issues? Because I really liked this issue quite a bit. Stuff like this. Almost Michael DeForge-ish looking. And then this last story was pretty good. Bloodhorn. I thought was pretty great. And this was absolute classic 60s, 70s underground vibe to this one, just with the violence and everything. Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick the rest up. I'm gonna check out Domino again once I get some more PayPal cash. I've always wanted to make a zine. Yeah, you should do it, John. That would be incredible. I know Damian was talking about it for a little while. I think that would be amazing. I'd love to see that. It seems that it may become a thing again. Who knows? It feels like some of these things are popping up. Another one, this one published by Domino. I don't remember. He was talking about it in the intro in the comic art review mag there, how many issues Domino Books themselves has kind of done. I'll get back to that in one sec. So it's this Reptile House is in a comic, just a regular comic bag. So that gives you kind of an idea of the size of it. And then these other ones, the comic art and this one, these are magazine bags. So pretty, just a little shorter than a full-blown magazine. And then here's the comic art one. Same thing, just a little smaller than magazine. And like I said, this is about 60 pages. So they've only done a handful of books themselves, only published a handful of books themselves, and they distribute a lot. And it looks like, from what Ryan was saying, they have a guy who kind of brings in comics. So if he finds a stockpile of underground comics out in the wild, he'll bring them for him at Domino to offer in their store. But he covers all sorts of books, all independent and things. So this is one that they published now. This isn't this artist's first work, and I'm going to find the name for you in one sec here. Here we go. Clara Bessie Gel. Gore Vidal, how's it going? So this one, it's a guy that's going to, he's reviewing. He's a playwright, or he's a play reviewer, and he's just seen a performance, and he's sitting down to write it, but he found he can't remember anything about it. So he decides to go back to the ticket booth lady to ask her kind of to give him the gist of what the play was about. She misunderstood. She misunderstood him and gives him a ticket anyway, so he can go see it again. And then he kind of forgets who he is. Someone in the theater kind of pokes their head up, and they start following him around even after he's left the theater. Yeah, it's a beautiful style, this. I really like it. Like I said, I'm not familiar with her as an artist, but she'd done stuff before this quite a bit. Not Near Mint, how's it going? And it just kind of goes from there. And then he kind of gets in touch with what I believe is partially his family, a group of people. I don't want to kind of spoil the ending, but it's a good little book. The art really intrigues me. I haven't looked her up any further than this yet, so we'll see. We'll see what else she's done. I'm guessing more self-published type of things, but who knows? So that was fun. But the one that kind of blew me away, the book that I'm going to talk about later. I just finished reading this book that I'm going to talk about, and I was so fully absorbed in it. Sometimes, I'm sure that happens to everybody. You get right into the zone where everything that you take in afterwards, it just has a different effect. And I found when I was reading this, it had a completely nice, awesome. It had a completely different effect on me. There was parts of this comic, I felt like I was inside the pages. It's again kind of magazine size, and because of that size, it really pulled me in. That there was a couple of parts where I started actually feeling claustrophobic. It's incredible art. Don't ask me what it's about, because I really don't have a clue. There's one big story in here, and then there's a couple of short strips, but all of the art is like this, and at times it's hard to decipher. Figures not blending in, blending into each other, figures blending into the background, all kinds of just craziness going on here. One of the parts in this story is this bus breaks down and the guy's dog escapes, and he wants to find the dog. And they once he fixes the bus, they drive away, and he realizes that he's forgot his dog, and they have to go back to look for it. And I envy anybody trying to look for an animal in this kind of environment. I don't know how the hell you're finding everything there. Yeah, and it really gives it this effect because of the smaller panels. It gives it this really amazing effect, actually. Like if you look at it from a distance, it just becomes this kind of abstract art broken up into sections, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Again, a creator that I'm not familiar with, Nathan Ward. On the Domino site, there's only this one issue. There, but I would strongly recommend checking this one out. I think it was like a $5 issue, something like that. And it's on this kind of really flimsy paper and stuff, which is not a criticism. I happen to love that it just has this, you're finding it in a newspaper mailbox on the street kind of feel to it. So that one was kind of, I enjoyed everything I got from them, but I would say that was the hit, and Reptile House was the hit. And I'll let you know when I'm finished reading that other thing. Another thing that I started reading today, I picked this up not too long ago, just a graphic novel collection of 5 issues. It looks like, I think it's 5, 6, 7, maybe it's 5 to 9. I think so. I'm assuming they've done it in chronological order, but I can't find, there's nothing in the index here. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I read the first book in this, and it's a lot of fun. I don't have a lot of experience with these kind of pre-code horror stories themselves, or sci-fi stories themselves. I've read some things, but not that much. This was a lot of fun, and I really like the kind of faithful reproduction that they do. Even in some of the stories where the coloring is off, they haven't corrected anything. They haven't fixed anything. There was a couple of panels here that really gave me that sense. This page itself, even with all of the kind of garish coloring, again, that I completely am in love with. This is this is just a really fun read. There's like 6 short stories in it, and it's just really great. There's 2 Basil Wolverton stories as well, both of them that I have read before, but still nice to read them again. And again, I think with some of this stuff, it would be great to see some of the in-person pre-code horror and sci-fi, to see the actual floppies themselves, to smell that musty old paper and all of that. So I'm looking forward to reading more of this. I think this is a newer release. Yeah, there's not a heck of a lot of information. They reprint the ads and everything too, which is nice. So there isn't even any back matter in it. There's not even a little write-up on the inside. PS Art Books is what the company is. I'm assuming they've done a volume before this with the first 4 issues, but who knows? And then there's a breakdown on the back. But so that's going to be a fun one just to dip into every once in a while. And the one that I wanted to talk about, that I know that I'm late. I'm late. We have space for you, Gore. We have space. There's tons of empty prairie landscape where you just plop Texas right down there. But like we've talked about, you've got to, I don't know, we've got to do some sort of weeding out process for who actually comes along with the state. I think this came out late 2019, and I'm pretty sure it was on, or maybe it was 2018. I'm pretty sure it was on a lot of best books of the year. And it's something that I've seen in the bookstore and picked it up and put it down a million times. But I finally kind of bit the bullet and bought this. And I kid you not, I read 3/4 of it in one sitting. Once I started, this is probably one of the most absorbing books I've ever read in my life. And I mean, I know that people say a lot of these hyperbolic terms. This is Emile Ferris is her name. This is her first graphic novel. She hasn't done comics before this. She did toy design. I believe her mom was an animator at Disney for a little bit, but not an exceptionally long time. Van Sciver. Oh, is there a second volume? Well, geez, if there's a second volume, I'm going to get that next. I'm unaware. I know that this one is called Volume 1, but this art is just exceptional. And because it's kind of reproduced on like this loose leaf, even to the point you can see the spine in the middle there, the ring binder. Holy hell, man. I honestly have never read anything like this. There's a couple of really nice turns in here too. And there's one storyline that they follow with this upstairs neighbor that is just completely fucking gut-wrenching. Like, it's unbelievable. So based around this little girl, Karen is her name, and just her interactions with her family, with her neighborhood, with, again, like I said, the upstairs neighbor, with kind of this gangster in the town, or in their neighborhood rather, and just kind of how she feels about herself, how she's treated at school, and then just like I said, the interactions with her family. But it's done in all this pen and ink style throughout, and it really just looks like at times you're just flipping through someone's sketchbook. Unbelievable. It's, like I said, I hesitate to tell you too much about it because I don't want to spoil it in any way, shape, or form. But I think it really strikes a nice balance between a bunch of different storytelling methods. It almost has this, not childlike by any stretch, but there is this kind of outsider focus story with, these underdog weirdos who they enjoy visiting the art gallery. Yeah, really just twisted my head around. I finished it. Super satisfying ending as well too. I don't feel like I had a ton of questions. There's a few questions, but like I said, because this was listed at volume 1, I'm guessing there's going to be more. So I'm assuming some of those will be handled in the next volume. Just tactile. It's really nice. But I literally finished reading it, and I think I just sat in my chair for a good 15 minutes, kind of just stunned at what I had read. And I think what really helps you get absorbed into it is this loose leaf design in the background of everything, and this ink, you know, because some of it is really, really messy. Some of it is super, super clean. So it really draws you in a way that another comic, I just don't think, has the ability to. So yeah, I mean, I can see why this became best of for a lot of people. It's incredible. And like I said, check out her interview on Van Sciver's channel, Noah Van Sciver. I always have to make sure I focus on saying his first name so I don't say the other one. And then I follow her on Twitter as well, too. She is on Twitter. She doesn't post a ton lately. She's been posting political stuff. Nothing wrong with that. It's just she is there. Support these people. This is Fantagraphics, by the way. Fantagraphic Books. And I mean, that's the other thing, too. Even just looking at that spine, you can see those kind of notepads. Amazing, amazing, amazing book. Like I said, one of the best books I think I've ever read. Just kind of back up. Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are coming to. Excellent. That's good. Yeah, honestly, Jonah Jello, bite the bullet on monsters. Give it. Give her. Just don't hesitate. Gore, you've read it. Excellent. Blue Botic, how are you? I have monsters on my to-read nightstand. Can't wait. Yeah, give it a shot. And then Earl Grey was an early champion of the book. Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. I passed on it because it was displayed on the hot shelf at my local Indigo chapters. Yeah, and it's funny how those things can happen. You see that and you think, yeah, no, there's definitely no way that's hot. These guys don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I hear that. Yes, mind the comics. Absolutely do it. So one of the other things we'll touch on, I don't know if there's tons. I don't want to go through, because like I said, I've been reading an absolute boatload. I got this in the mail, and I read the most of the manifestos in here. So it's The Art of Noise, a group of futurists from the early 1900s. Their manifestos on just noise in music. Luigi Russolo being the main one, Italian. I believe they're all Italian. And Russolo has 2 manifestos in here, and he talks about very plainly. His is really slap you in the face. We need some actual noise in orchestral music. The other ones, the other manifestos in here from people that I don't know, they talk about things like timing and the use of different instruments and that sort of thing. So it's a little more abstract for sure, but Russolo is really calling for the art of noises and orchestral music to be destroyed. And it's a pretty great read. I've read this stuff online, but it's nice to have it in kind of one volume. We, the futurists, are creating a new order of the disorder. So at the end of each of his, he has some conclusions that he wants people to follow. And there's not much kind of beyond these manifestos from these futurists, because from even he says it in here, that they didn't really do any work of renown. I think Russolo was mostly just a spectator. He made these Infantimori. I'm blanking on exactly what the names are, but they're kind of this big box with a cone on the front that was this noise machine. I don't think there's any actual recordings surviving of the real machine working. I know that some of them lasted, and I believe people tried to get them working again. Intona rumori, or noise intoners, is what it's called, what the devices are called. So that was kind of a fun read. Again, kind of digging into my history of noise music, which has been a blast, literally. The other thing to talk about, and then we might call it here. We'll see how it goes. They got me again. They got me with a 50% off sale. My local shop had 2 of these in stock, actually, and 50% off. I just couldn't pass it up. I just couldn't let it slide by. So if you were around on Sunday, I did talk about this. This isn't the easiest book to kind of show holding up, but so it's Schultz Artist Edition for Peanuts, all the way to 1960. And another one of those, as soon as I got it home, I opened it up, lay it out on the table, and read it from cover to cover. Book is comprised of selected Peanuts daily strips from 1950 through 1960. All of the original art came from the collection of the Charles M. Schultz Museum in Santa Rosa, California. So it's, dude, it's gorgeous. I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try my best. I don't know how much I'll be able to show you. I'm going to try my best to show you. So, I mean, even some of the strips are browned. One of the things, again, like everybody talks about with these artist editions, you can see some of the changes that he made to the drawings, even as much as entire body positions changing. There's one strip with Schroeder in particular where he erased Schroeder looking directly at the viewer, so looking directly at the camera. So he changed his body positioning, so he was looking more at Charlie Brown, who was plunking away at his toy piano, and it was driving him crazy. But this is gorgeous. It's really, really gorgeous. Some of the strips are signed to people, so maybe I'm assuming that they then donated them to the museum, because they do say in the beginning that it all comes from the museum. That's all I can really show you. It's huge. You know, I mean, when you stand it up this way, it's the same height as a regular artist edition. It's just not as wide. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. And like I said, I have no interest in purchasing any more artist editions, which is, of course, a lie. And Gore Vidal called it himself when I first bought that Spirit book. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know how much the original strips go for. I mean, especially, well, maybe not especially. I imagine at any point in Schultz's career, that shit was expensive. I have a feeling, I bet you it goes character. I bet you there's Snoopy strips that are worth a boatload more than anybody else, any other character, if Snoopy is the main focus. Gorgeous stuff. These artist editions are unbelievable. I don't want any more, but I want lots more. But I don't want any more, but I want a lot more. But I don't want any more. The other thing that I read, I don't think we talked about it on Sunday. Damian had shown the Sergio Aragone's Mad Special, and I found one in town. Thankfully, one of the shops still had a couple of copies, so I grabbed it. And it was another, even when Damian was talking about it 2 Sundays ago now, it sounded amazing. Mad Magazine being a huge thing for us growing up. And like I was saying in that stream, even for my dad growing up, not saying that he was there since issue #1 by any means, but he did have a ton of the early issues that the classic story his mom got rid of. So he loved Mad Magazine growing up. I started read Mad Magazine and loved it. So we'd read some of these issues together. Which was always kind of nice too, or not some of these issues, but some issues together. And unfortunately, all my Mad magazines I sold off quite a while ago too. And I don't totally regret it. I did keep a few things. I kept a Don Martin collection. I kept a David Berg collection. Yeah, I probably kept a couple of Don Martin collections now that I'm thinking about it, because he was absolutely my favorite. But Aragone's was a close second. And one of the pages here, let's see if I can find it. I think it was at the back. So he did the Mad Marginals. So what they did for this one is do 2 pages of Mad Marginals, which is insane. I don't even know if, yeah, there you go. There's some focus. So they reprinted a bunch of those. Is that going to show? Yeah, there it comes. When we moved to the US and I didn't know a word of English, I'd watch Charlie Brown, but I thought the cartoon was about Snoopy. I wanted his story and didn't understand why he wasn't in more scenes. Yeah, he really became the runaway hit of Charlie Brown. Yeah, I loved the Mad Marginals as well, too. And that era, like, I have a lot of fond memories of Mad Magazine of that era. There was just a lot of great stuff. And, you know, because it was sold at the grocery store, again, like we've spoken about, along with the Archie comics and those kind of things, we'd go grocery shopping. And if there was a new Mad magazine, I would always get the new Mad magazine. That would always be something. And then get some mini tattoos from the gumball machine at the end of the aisle. And sometimes they had mini joke books too. They didn't have, I never saw the mini Marvel. That was before my time, those mini Marvel things. But what else? I mean, you know, like I said, there's just so much that I've been reading. If you're not on Twitter, I don't know, maybe consider going there. I know that it's not for everybody. I get it. But you can spend some time, and you can you can even create a private account where nobody can follow you just arbitrarily. So you have very strict control over who you follow and who follows you. You can kind of curate your experience a little bit, because it's worth checking things out on there and coming to hang out. Like I said, this comics tag, and as Chris was saying at the beginning, it just really puts a fire under your ass. And I was really in a reading mode anyway, but to have this extra incentive, and to even now going back, like I just went through the list the other day just to kind of see where I had started, since I'm up to like 80, I don't know, 84, 85, 86 books, somewhere in around there, 80 something books already for 2021. And just looking at the kind of stuff I've read so far and kind of being reminded and what's kind of left my memory already. It's just interesting to have that document for myself, because I honestly don't know how much I read in a year. It's not ever been something that I've kept track of. So I think that'll be interesting to see. I think that's all I got for you, people. Like I said, I could sit here and talk for days about the amount of books, but we'll leave it there. Thanks very much. Gorgeous steals artist editions from his library. Oh, here we go. My mom would give me a budget at the corner store to buy comics. I would put my comics back on the shelf if I saw Mad magazines. That's amazing. Bunch of Dave Bergen Argon's paperbacks, sold them off. Right on. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. It's always good to sit and chat with you. So like I said, Sundays, come and join us. Come and hang out. I won't be able to make it to the shop tomorrow. I'm sure my pull list is going to have a number of things. I'm teaching a course online, and I don't think it's going to end early. So I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm curious to see what everybody's getting. And I'm actually going to miss it now that I have I think my pull list might be up to like 5 or 6 comics down from, or up from 4, just because there's some of these mini series coming out that I want to keep an eye on. So thanks very much. We'll talk to you on Sunday. If you ever want to be on the show, please, like I said, get in touch. We can absolutely work something out. Later, fellas.